There's nothing you cannot do. You can have anything you have ever wanted, anytime you want, as soon as you give a shit, blame yourself, and put some work in. Your mind must be an absolute monarchy. I cannot remember the last time I won anything unless I was winning by force. You do not win. There's no easy ride to the end. You're only ever going to win by force. Your mind must be an absolute monarchy where your commands are instantly obeyed and you instantly comply with your own mind. If your mind says, I'm going to train today, your body must instantly comply with the overlord, the absolute monarch, which is your intention. Because it is intention which matters above all things. You know, people talk about motivation all the time, and I'm tired of getting asked this fucking question. Let me explain something to you about motivation. If you felt like doing something and you didn't do it, you were never motivated. And if you didn't feel like doing something and you still did it, then you were motivated. How you feel has absolutely nothing to do with motivation. Motivation can be measured purely by the action in and of itself. Did you take action? Did you do what you were supposed to do? If so, you were motivated enough to do it. Even if you didn't want to do it, even if you hated the idea of doing it and was resentful about the fact you had to do it, that is motivation. The action itself.
Because when you look at words like procrastination, they give big fancy titles for this. What procrastination is essentially is wanting and needing and knowing that you must do something and disobeying yourself. I'm dehydrated, I'm going to drink this water. You know what? Your brain knows you need to do it. I know I need to do it. I'm thinking I need to do it, and I just don't. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world, because if you can't listen to yourself, how do you expect anyone else to ever listen to you? How do you expect to ever be the boss of anyone else when you tell them what to do? They're going to obey you, which is necessary to run a family, to run any small to medium-sized company, to have, I guess, any real level of success in the world. If you can't listen to your own commands, you have no chance of having authority over everybody else, because people can smell it. They can tell a dosser when they see one.
And I think men at home today need to be absolute monarchs over their lives. And this is actually a fantastic way to measure your capability as a man and your ability to get people to believe in you and your leadership. Let's imagine this. You're an absolute monarch of your life. You say what you want to do, you say how you want it to be, you say how you're going to live, you get it done. If a woman decides to stick by you with your absolute instruction and command, then she believes in your leadership. You have shown and demonstrated enough capability, perspicacity, indefatigability for her to sit at home and think, I want to follow this man wherever he is leading me. If she leaves you because you are not bending or breaking to her will, because it is an absolute monarchy that you own, that she is living within, then you're going to find yourself very, very lonely. So a great way to measure your capability as a man is to wake up and say, this is the life I want to live, this is how I'm going to live it, this is what I'm going to do, and see who's sticking around beside you afterwards. See which women are still there for you when you make it very clear how you intend to live your life. So you can live with absolute monarchy and reign as a king, and you're going to find out a lot about your capability, not only from women, but from men too. What men want to stick by you when you say, look, this is how I'm going to live my life. This is what needs to be done. This is the life I'm going to live. That will teach you a lot about yourself in an absolute monarchy, which is why you need the mindset of a king for the exact same reason. You now have an obligation to the people who believe in you. You now have an obligation to yourself, because it is an absolute monarchy that you are in control of. You can no longer delay it. You can no longer procrastinate. You can no longer live in the promise of a better tomorrow, of a perfect future. There is right now, and you have obligations you must fulfill. And I want to make this very important. By fulfilling your obligations to yourself, you default fulfill your obligations to everybody who believes in you and cares about you and loves you and relies on you. By fulfilling your obligations to yourself, you're not trying to get strong and get rich just to buy dumb shit. You're doing that because you owe it to yourself. You're doing that because it's going to please your ancestors and please God and please the universe. And by extension, you are automatically going to become more valuable to everybody else who believes in you, which strengthens your kingdom, strengthens your absolute authority. And there are some times in life as a man, you need absolute authority to be effective. If this house sets on fire, I need to be able to say to my woman, get up, run. I don't have time for her to say why. I don't have time for her to say, where's the fire? Maybe you can put it out. My friend's boyfriend didn't yell at her like that. Why are you being rude to me? There's no time. I gave a command and I expect to be obeyed because it allows me to save her life and mine. If you do not have absolute authority over the people you are providing and protecting, you are not actually effective as a leader at all. I believe everything in the world is a choice. And people will argue with me when I say that. They say, no, I didn't choose to feel this way. And I'll argue back that believing everything is a choice empowers you to make the change. Trying to say that everything is not a choice removes your power and your authority and your responsibility and your capabilities. When people sit and say, oh no, I didn't choose this, well then they can't choose to fix it. Whereas if you accept that every single thing about you is a choice, then you get to choose to change it or not. So I think the most powerful thing you can do if you're a depressed or sad person is you can choose to stop being one. And that's the mindset which allows you to be most competitive in the world. Like what even is true and false? True and false is adopting the mindset or the strategies which allow you to compete and win. That's what's true. It's like fighting, right? People say lucky punch. There's no such thing as a lucky punch. It landed and you threw it. That's a punch. And that's a punch you've been training for. So I like what you said about it doesn't matter if it's true or not because it's empowering. I would argue that truth is empowerment. What is true? Well, for me, what is true is what allows me to feel most powerful. That's what's true to me. When I look at scenarios or situations, I sit and say, well, option A makes me feel weak and helpless, and option B makes me feel powerful, so I believe B to be true. That's what I believe. And that's where my whole worldview comes from.
Would you get flack from that? Do people get upset with you saying that?
All the time.
Right.
But those are people who have a different version of objective reality, and their reality is not geared towards competitiveness like mine is. The primary objective of my thoughts and feelings and reality is to win. The only reason my brain activates is to win. It's not to feel happy. It's not on some garbage, endless quest for what might be true. It's to win all of the time. So I optimize for competitiveness and I optimize for performance in all things, which is very unpopular with a lot of people. Most people don't optimize for that. Most people optimize for the worst thing possible. Do you know what it is? Do you know the worst possible mindset you can try and optimize your life for?
Go on.
Happiness. Happiness is for women and children. You're allowed to be happy as a woman, and you're allowed to be happy as a kid. As a man, if you wake up and go, I want to be happy today, you're going to do unimportant, narcissistic, hedonistic garbage. You're either going to eat too much, drink too much, take drugs, sit around and play video games, smoke weed. You're not going to achieve anything if you want to be happy. It's ultimately temporary, and you sit there and go, I want to be happy today, I want a happy day. You're not going to achieve anything. As a man, 99% of the time, you're going to be stressed or annoyed about something that's just happened, currently happening, or about to happen. That's life. We live constantly anxious. We have a lot of things to do. And you either suffer the consequence of the stress it requires to be a somebody, or you suffer the consequence of having no stress because you're a nobody and you work in Starbucks and then you're a no one. There's no escape the eternal suffering of man. So many men say to me, oh, how I don't feel happy. I'm like, so? You think I'm happy? I got nearly $1 billion. I'm still stressed. I was up at 6 a.m. I got to go here. I got to go there. I've got to train. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. At what point do you think you've earned the right to wake up as a man and feel happy? Have men ever been happy? Name a period in human history where men were happy. Because if I think back, they were all dying in ditches. Yeah. But if you wake up and say, no, I don't want to work. I just want to be happy.
No, I'd be miserable. Well, everybody would be. In fact, I retired at 25 and was miserable after 2 months.
No, winners would be miserable. But losers love it. And that's why they lose.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Losers say all the time, losers have this problem with temporary motivation. A loser will come and say, I really want to change my life. I can't live like this anymore. And they'll mean what they say for about 2 days. And then they're happy to go back to being a loser again. You know, they really want it Monday to Friday, but on the weekend, they're happy to go back to how they were. And that's why they never escape. They never get the terminal velocity required to break free from the atmosphere of mediocrity. So, yeah, I'm conditioned to win. Just like you said, you can't handle the idea of stagnation. You can't handle the idea of retirement. I'm the same. But I'm not going to lie and pretend that that mindset means I live stress-free. In fact, I would argue that I adopt endless stress all of the time because I'm looking for problems to solve, because I'm looking for money to make. I'm looking to win. So there's a competition. Everything I want, someone else wants. I have to beat them. Let's apply that to mentality. You're not going to argue with yourself about what mentality you should have or how you should implement a mindset to be most combatively effective and what's going to make things work the best. If you're already working the best, you're not going to doubt your mind if you're already massively successful in all realms. The reason none of my enemies can convince me the way I think is wrong is because I outperform them. How can you tell me that my mindset is wrong and the way I think and act is not the correct way to be a man if I ruthlessly outperform everybody at everything? I'm better under stress. I'm more successful. I'm more well-known. Why would I want the mentality of these little trolls who nobody even knows who they are? They're insignificant nobodies. Why would I want to adopt the thinking of sad losers when I can be a competent, capable, and happy winner? And this is extremely important, but let's keep it on the mindset here. If you start to succeed in the way you need to succeed, you will no longer doubt your thinking patterns. If the way you thought and the way you felt, even if it was negative and sad, even if it wasn't a positive feeling, was giving you the results that you wanted, you would still want to retain that mindset. This is extremely important. You know, people ask me for advice and they say, Andrew, what should I do here? And I'll answer it and they'll go, but I don't think that would work because of this. Since when is this a conversation? Since when is it? You asked me how to get rich. I told you how to get rich. Now you're telling me that I'm wrong while you're broke and I'm rich. This is not a conversation. You were blessed by an answer. You should thank God I even wasted my time on a lazy loser like you who's not going to take any action despite the fact I gave them the exact path to monumental riches and capability. Guys, I am sick and tired of being asked the same questions in different various forms that lead to the exact same answer, which is get something done. Get up and give a shit and actually try and actually care. All of your life will be instantly fixed if you start to actually care about the outcomes and blame yourself for all of these things.
You have wasted your life. And it's exactly the same if you sit around, maybe I'll go to the gym, maybe I'll start this, maybe I'll start this project, maybe I'll start this business, maybe I'll talk to that girl I like. You're going to end up 45, fat, chronically ill, too injured to even save yourself with training and to get back into shape, lonely, no kids, no money, broke, and the type of person that people don't want to deal with, which is another circumstance that keeps you broke. So the price you pay for this is not as simple as a bad year or a bad 2 years. It is literally a wasted life because we only get one spin at this. And if you throw it away, you've thrown everything away.
There's nothing more beautiful than absolute accountability as a man. It's truthfully the most beautiful thing a man can experience and implement inside of his mind. Absolute accountability for all things, both the good and the bad, to blame absolutely everything on themselves. I promise you, if you stop making excuses, you stop waiting and praying for some kind of better future, and you wake up every day and say, all of the good in my life is my fault, and all of the bad in my life is my fault, and I'm the only one who can fix this. It's never going to get better by itself. It's never going to be fixed by anyone else. It's never going to be easy. I have to win by force. I must force myself and my mind to brutally perform. There is a degree of comfort that comes when you understand that the power is within your own hands. And this is the life you want to live. I've been up at 9 a.m. and in meetings by 10 a.m. till 2, 3, 4 in the morning every single day. It's 2 in the morning.
Almost 3.
It's almost 3 in the morning. I've been busy all day long. And I'm a billionaire and one of the most famous people on the planet. And that's how I'm working. 16, 17, 18-hour days. You're sitting around on your ass doing nothing. Doom scrolling. And then you have the audacity to ask me why you're not where you want to be in life. Because men like me are going to take everything and not even leave you with scraps. There's not even going to be a little piece of meat on the carcass because you're too busy chasing around women who are too good for you in the first place. The only way you're going to have anything in this life is to wake up and to suffer the brutal realities of endless effort and to win by force. And that is the answer to 99% of your questions. That's the answer to how you get the girls you want. That's the answers to how you get rich. It's the answer to how you get in shape. It's the answer to how you become motivated. I can be motivated to do anything because I force myself. I can blink and cure my brain and be endlessly, permanently motivated to achieve the most mundane and boring and insignificant of tasks because I have decided my mind is an absolute monarchy that I control, that I rule. If I decide to become the world's fucking best at coin flipping, I will stand there and flip a coin so repeatedly over and over again until I am I'll become impressive at flipping a coin if that's what I've decided to do. You can't motivate yourself to even get in the gym and have a body people admire you for. You can't motivate yourself to be sexually desirable. And then you want to sit here and ask me questions about how you get a woman. You can't motivate yourself to get up and log in and dedicate yourself so you can finally have some money. The dream is not to have a Lambo. The dream is to have a mother who isn't worried about hospital bills. The dream is to be able to travel around the world because there's a place you want to see before you die. The dream is to have a car that works, and if it breaks down, you can afford to pay it. That is the dream. And to achieve this dream, you do not have to climb Mount Everest. You have to open up a laptop and type, and you still fail. And then you want to sit there and ask me, oh, how come I don't have the motivation? You don't have the motivation to type on a keyboard to achieve your dreams, and you think I can fix a loser like you? If you're not improving, you are dying. If you're not growing, you are dying. There's no such thing as staying still in this world. Isn't it beautiful for a man to turn up, try his absolute best, or otherwise, attempt to try his best, and be completely responsible for the results, to get the benefits of a positive result and all of the negatives of a less than perfect result? There is nothing better as a man than to turn up and get a fair shot. That's exactly what you should want. You should want as a man to be judged for who you are and what you're capable of, with no sugarcoating, no positive spin because you know somebody. You want to just say, here's who I am, this is what I can do, give me a fair chance. You want a fair chance in life, and you want to be the kind of man who says, if I have a fair chance, I'm going to win because I believe I can work harder than everybody else. There is nothing better than turning up, putting on gloves, even if you've never fought before in your life, and showing that you have the grit, because you can only win things in life by force. This is a mentality decision. This is a chance for you to prove to the world that you never quit, that you never give up. This is a test to see who's a quitter and who's a winner. And this is why I said at the beginning, the only way I have ever won anything in my life is by force. The only way I have ever succeeded in anything in my life is by force. It's all I know how to do. It is all I have ever done, is to look at the insurmountable task ahead of me, to look at the large, huge mountain which has never been climbed before, and one step at a time, with an iron mind which will not bend, which will not break, remaining completely unfazed, put one foot in front of the other until one day I wake up and I'm at the top of the hill. There is no easy way to get anything else done ever. But perhaps, maybe, all of this is just a form of procrastination. It's a form of copium. It's a form of self-explanation where they can try and talk their way out of the brutal reality, which is work. People ask me, how do you get rich? You do this and you work. Oh, but that won't work for me, because they are saying that so they do not have to actually do the work. That's what they're trying to do, trying to avoid the brutal realities of life. There's nowhere to hide. You cannot escape. The only thing that is guaranteed in this life besides death is constant, endless, never-ending work.